Hello everyone and welcome to our Let's Play series of Queen's Wish. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that it chose to join me today, talking to Jeremiah Bushrook. All so damp, says Jeremiah Bushrook, who seems to have had an accident apparently, and that's why he's complaining about his pants. Jeremiah Bushrook has settled into his office in the Fort Muck headquarters. He is surrounded by scrolls and books, few related to his actual job as sage, all brought out here by him. He rises it's just comic books, a lot of them. He rises and kneels when you enter. There's a lot of motion. Prince, I have to thank you again for saving my life. I hope that I can be useful to you here. Studying Sacramentum has occupied much of my life. I am so happy to be out here at last, he says, even though we learned that in the meantime, since we rescued him, and now, which has been basically no time because we have been straight here, it's been a few hours, he's already tried to leave the fort 6 times. And he's saying that he's happy. Sure. Have you recovered from your adventure with the Mirelings? Oh, of course. Those simple creatures were not difficult to evade, especially with my magical abilities. It also gave me an excellent chance to observe them, their odd spirit and their lack of intelligence. Right, their lack of intelligence. Don't let their human aspect fool you. They are almost entirely mindless. However, they are unnerving mimics. They imitate human behavior. Their utterances and actions sometimes lull human prey into a sense of complacency, giving the Mirelings a chance to strike. Did they injure you? No, although I did bruise my knee on a stool when running through the ruined farmhouse. It's a good thing it was a stool and not a freaking huge boulder or something like that. What did Mirelings come from? Nobody knows. The suspicion is that they are made by a mad Agriel mage. That does tend to be the way of things on Sacramentum. They were made in the Agriel, but most of them migrated to the Ucat long before Haven came. The swamp suits them better. They prefer it for some reason. I'm pretty sure you just said what the reason is. They prefer it because it suits them better. Right? What? I have no idea what I was saying. Jeremiah Brezhnev continues to chat with you, but he keeps being distracted by scrolls or jobs, and the jobs being referred to as papers. Right, scrolls or papers. It's papers. It's when the game says jobs, it means papers. Or papers undone, or jobs undone. What the heck would that even mean, though? It doesn't mean papers. There. I think. Or weird theories that occur to him out of nowhere. Occasionally, you manage to keep him on track for a minute or two. Yeah, you are the sage here, I'm gonna say at him. And he says, that is the job I volunteered for. It was necessary to get a berth on one of the first... Oh, berth as in, yeah, right, a place to sleep. That is how it is said in ships. And on one of the first ships back to Haven, he says. So what is your job, even though you just said, and I said, that... What a weird question. I say to him, you are a sage. He says, that is my job. And my question is, what is your job? What? Officially, I am the sage. I keep records, send orders out, maintain the history of the battalion, occasionally trade with the simple Ukatish folk. I've been doubling as quartermaster until General Ajax can spare a proper one. Fortunately, none of this takes long, so I can still spend time on my true work, which I assume is being condescending toward everybody else. The merms, what are they called? The mermics? Not mermics, what are they called? I don't remember the name of the thing that they captured him. And the Ukatish, just calling them simple and uncivilized and unintelligent. Where might I meet some of these humble Ukatish folk? Oh, they're everywhere, trudging through the mud and looking for things to be insulted by. Don't expect to work with them much, though. You are a prince, after all. Does he mean... What does he mean by that? Don't expect to work with them much. Is he telling me not to expect to work for them much? Or is it the typical way of the game has of eliminating the subject of a sentence, as in, I don't expect to work with them much. They will be scared of you. No, no, no. Yeah, he's telling me not to expect. Okay, yes. It's probably your lot in life to learn most by speaking to the rich and powerful, who, of course, know very little. Wait, what the heck are you? I have no idea what he's coming from. So he says I'm not gonna get anything by talking to the poor and downtrodden, but also I'm not gonna get anything by the rich and powerful, because they know very little. Everybody knows very little in his worldview. Okay, it's confusing, but sure. I could use some supplies. Jeremiah looks you over. You're a prince, though. Everything you are already using is far better. Oh, right, of course. Of course, I'm very sorry. It's interesting that the point of contention is the point of contention with the Ukatish is it's so blatantly obvious. First, the point of contention is that they are prickly, in the sense that they get offended by quote everything unquote. But then every time they're categorized, obviously showcasing the reason why they're offended at quote everything unquote. Every time they're not categorized, but they're characterized by the people from Haven. They're recurrently called dirty and humble and slimy and whatnot. So that is the reason why these people say everything. By everything, they mean everything I say. They're just excluding the I say bit. So they're offended by everything I say, which usually is the case by when stuff like this happens. Whenever anybody says, "Oh, you're just offended by everything," by everything I say is what you should have said after. But that's because it's more of a saying. That's more of a characterization of what you say rather than what people actually get offended by. In this case, I think the idea that the game has. Let's. What exactly did we get? I'm trying to click on the journal key. I don't think it exists. Nope, that's not what I want to do. We need to go over there, don't we? No, let's go to the shadowy mine. That is what I want to go, and that because I'm afraid of CDs, I don't want to go there. Let's go to the shadowy mine because it's called the shadowy mine. Of course, I'm going to the shadowy mine. But yeah, I think what the game is trying to make the Ukatish seem like is that they endure. Excuse me. Is that they endure discrimination by the other nations somehow. Discriminate. It's like that is because you get the way I put it. I'm not even trying to put it to make no sense. I just put it as I'm not trying to do that. But discrimination by other nations doesn't make any sense because because it doesn't. Can you imagine? The French were always very prickly because the English didn't like them. It's like, what? That's not what the people of France are like. I mean, sure, they don't like I mean, for an English person, yes, if you're an English person and go to France, you're going to say, yeah, the French are very prickly. They get offended by everything. But, like, that's such a weird way. I mean, because, that is such a thing to say. It does make some sense, though. Where are we right now? Not in the right place. Foundry Clive. Hey Zdenka, what's up? I'm sorry, I've been here already. But like, it does make some sense. It makes a lot of sense that it's the Haven people that say this sort of stuff about the Ukatish, but I'm not sure that has been every time the game has characterized them as that, because I think the game has characterized them as prickly when it's not about somebody's impression of them. You meet especially because our own experience with the Ukatish has been totally fine. They've just been totally fine and compliant with us so far, like our personal experience. You meet a band of Ukatish swamp runners. They are surprisingly friendly. See what I mean? To you, the surprisingly there is telling though, but still they're friendly. You're covered with the stinking mud of the swamp now that makes you fit in. But then our it's just that's the Englishman not liking the French. thing. That's what I'm saying. Is like, it must be because I'm all dirty. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's a telling on our character rather than on them, because we can't rely on the narrator to actually say this stuff because the narrator is also characterizing our character. So it might not be because we're covered in stinking mud. Because if we were covered in mud that smells nice, maybe they wouldn't be friendly to us. Is that the impression here? No, it isn't. Stinking mud doesn't literally mean that it is the mud that's stinking. It means that they're stinking. They're stinking. They want you that no, they warn you that the woods to the northwest are thoroughly haunted. Oh, it's good. And the ghosts tend to be less friendly to outsiders. Also, a drake has been seen circling the sky. You thank them and move on. So, again, they are completely nice people. Including even the soldiers were really nice. I remember having that impression. The soldiers that warned us and were like, sure, whatever, it's fine. How do I get in there, though? Ooh, I can get in there through here. It's probably gonna be... No, don't do that. Save the game. Yes. It's probably gonna be the Drake. You trudge through a particularly tough expanse of muck. Your muscles ache as the mud sucks at your legs. Each step feels like 4. The mud oozes into your boots. Everything stinks. Yes. This clearing has been scorched and trampled. Intense heat has actually overcome the moistness of the moss and muck and left a layer of char over everything. You look for tracks or some other sign of what happened here. You don't find anything. Do I not? Well, at least I don't try to explain what has happened. And you don't find any. There's footsteps. No, those are my footsteps. Because it sounds differently when we're on gravel or whatever that is. Some shades glide toward you. They float over the mire. Mire lurks, that's the word that I was looking for before. And the mud doesn't slow them down. There's shades. It's easy peasy. Let's just take them out. One by one. Yeah, there's a lot of them. See what we can pull off over here. Because it's gonna depend on whether they hit me or not. So that's an evasion. That's another evasion. That's 1 damage. Vulnerable. Evaded. So things are looking good. Particularly now that unfortunately, I don't have any AoE that only costs one energy point. So I must do this. And that one also costs a bunch, but I will do that if I move over here. Lots of bacon. And we don't really need to worry too much about this. The shades have been destroyed. They evaporate, leaving no trace. Well, they leave the bacon. That's what they leave behind. And this is going to be an area, isn't it? Oh, no, it is a mine. It is a mine. We gain experience from finding places? I didn't realize that. Let's go back to Fort Muck, because it's right next door. And level up, because it is amazing that we level up. I love leveling up. So, what do I want? Haven's Mercy, that is pretty good, actually. We might go with that. We have plus evasion. I wouldn't mind having extra evasion, but we're not going to go up on that for the moment. Having extra energy is also nice, but then that would allow me, or that would require me to have, to spend 2 more points over here, whereas this one, it's also 2 more points, but I prefer the evasion rather than the energy. So we got Brutal Blow, which is pretty nice. Blinding Blow is also pretty cool, and I probably should go with that instead of everything else. We got the Bull Rush over here. That does damage. I don't use that all that often. So at this point, I think it's better to go for the evasion. So, not hide in shadows, even though it's not a bad idea, to be honest. But it's just, I really want to make sure that these tank rather than the backliners. And you already have 1 energy. You already have 1 evasion, and that's because I'm not spending as much stuff here on the cultural things. So, let's see. Terrifying Scream. No. Fast Feint. Your next attack with your weapon is Cunning Feint. You will be faster and do more damage for several turns. That's really interesting, actually. That's really interesting. I wonder if I should do that. We don't have a stunning blow, so I probably want to go with that, just to get our stun capabilities up as much as we can. So magic damage probably wouldn't be necessary right now. We got silence over there. We have no cultural. Yeah, that's right. We need to send Terrence away eventually. So Terrence doesn't have healing, or rather, he does have healing. It's just his healing. It's that. Don't worry about it. So we got speed. Yeah, we don't really use Inspiring Cry all that much either. So I'm just gonna go with healing over here because sometimes it is important, and we do use that every once in a while. And then we have Mind Steal and whatnot. And then we have some healing. That's for evasion. We have a lot of these spells. We got Terror. And we could get a build construct, which would be interesting. Do I want more evasion? Because if I invest on in speed over here, that I believe you have as well. You know, curing is a really handy one to have. And the reason for that is because you can use that and only use 4 action points. So I think I'm just gonna stick with curing for right now. And I'd never use it, but it can be good. It can save our life for sure. Let's save the game here. You enter an iron mine of the Ukatish. It's not a peat bog, but a proper mine. A peat bog is also a mine. Also, it's just not an underground mine. It's just not... What? But... a mine doesn't mean... A mine... what a weird... I figured that's what it said. That's what it's meant to say. It's a proper dungeon, sort of. Like, just to phrase it like that, it's weird. It's the traditional, typical mine that you think of when you think of mines. But a mine can be an open... Can be... And often, in fact, most mines are open to the sky. Because, you know, it's just... Machines dig through things, and most mines are just for stone. Really. Actually, that's just basically... That's a pretty good... It's a pretty good, straightforward thing. Most mines are for stone. I mean, I actually say that, but I never checked at statistics, so don't take my word for it. I'm just saying from, like, here in Portugal anyway, most mines that I know of are stone. Then again, we don't have that much other minerals to mine. But there you go. Stone is the thing that's most used, and you need stone a lot, and you get the stone from mines. That's simple as gets. And actually, I say for stone, but actually, you probably will use more sand and gravel, which is also gotten from stone mines, from gravel and sand mines. Although sand in particular gets processed and done in different ways, but still, mines do all that. It's just like, what? Anyway, actual shafts. Yes, actual shafts. Is what you mean by proper mine. It's not a proper mine, it's the stereotypical mine from the movies, which is worrying if you say it like that in a video game like this. You shouldn't say it like that in a video game like this, but it also... Anyway. Dug into the earth, like everything in this region, it is icy cold and full of fog. That's not how... Is that how swamps are? People from Florida. I know the fog is a thing, but is it icy cold? Or am I being unfair and picking Florida? Because Florida has a lot of swampland, which is different from swamp. This region is haunted, and the mine is no exception. Of course, these things happen. The odd ghost or two shouldn't prevent your workers from extracting resources. You just have to make sure it's not too haunted. Yes. And we have a scout coming our way. A young woman walks out of the shadows. She wears the garb of a scout of Haven. She's deathly pale. Whatever is ahead, it has left her incoherent with fear. Either that or she has lost a lot of blood. She takes a long look at you. She pokes you in the chest to make sure... Please don't touch me. You are real, and then she sees your insignia. Because she's poking me in the insignia. Because it's in the chest. You are the prince, she says. Calm down, scout. She doesn't calm down at first. She starts to hyperventilate. You give her some water and a good shake. You shouldn't give people who are hyperventilating a good shake. You shouldn't do that. So she dies in front of you. Well, she wouldn't die. She would just faint, basically, because hyperventilation. what is the? I think people faint when they hyperventilate, but why is that? Is that or is that a symptom rather than a cause for something else? Because if it's a symptom, anything could happen. If it's a symptom of like having a panic attack, which it is, then the panic attack would cause other things. Or if it's a symptom of pain, then the pain would cause other things. Anyway, she starts to regain her composure. So all that paragraph was pointless. Who are you? I am Scout Yulia, Prince, of the West Battalion, sent from Haven. How long have you been on Sacramentum? We landed when you retook Greatport. We came to the Mirefangs. General Ajax sent us scouts ahead after you opened the border. Why are you here? She keeps looking over her shoulder as she talks, convinced that some terror might chase her out at any moment. 5 of us came here, she says. This mine belongs to Haven by treaty. We set our camp up and explored. It was calm at first, and then the ghosts. Where are the others? I'm going to ask. And she says, they returned to report to General Ajax. I stayed here to watch, and then I couldn't hold back the fear anymore. I'm sorry, Prince. So tell me about these ghosts. The ghosts, they don't attack, but they whisper. I couldn't take it anymore. I was running out and found you. You may report back to West Battalion. She nods. Thank you, Prince. I didn't explore the deepest tunnels. It gets colder. Please be wary. If you go far in... yes, please be wary if you go far in. Good luck. And she grabs her pack and runs off. She doesn't look back. Even though... Oh, I need to... Do I need to move for her to move? Oh, no, but probably, because she was... I was probably blocking her. When you touch the door, you find it to be icy cold. Painfully cold, which means the door is made out of a terminally conductive material, which probably isn't stone, or no, stone is pretty terminally conductive. It probably isn't wood, then, because icy cold wood doesn't feel painfully cold. It's not very terminally conductive, because temperature is about terminal conductiveness rather than actual temperature. You try to open it, but it's also magic, so I suppose it could be covered in ghost goo. You try, because that would be terminally conductive. You try to open it, but the cold turns your hand numb, and then it begins to climb up your arm. You let go of the doors, and magic is holding it closed. You can't get through it yet. And my character exclaims, "Lock!" And everybody's very amused by that. We have a mine ghost. Excuse me, Mr. Mine. Hi. No? Okay. What was that supposed to be? Why did he flee? You pass by several blocked tunnels. The muddy earth of this mine is hard to restrain. Because they cave in. That's why they're blocked. The weight of the ceiling broke the support pillars and collapsed the passages. It will take some effort to clear them again. As you pass, you are startled by the appearance of several ghosts. Ukatish miners, long dead. They walk through you. They move down the blocked corridor as if the rubble and mud wasn't there when they vanish. Weren't there. Wasn't there? Yeah, weren't there. You hear a sound. It's correct. It was correct. You hear a sound so faint that you have to concentrate to hear it. It is the indistinct muttering of voices, and then an ominous creaking. Support pillars above to give way under a great weight. I should be getting out, but I'm not, because I have a save over there. If the caves in, I can reload. Although this might be the cave in, because it could cave in behind me. The sounds continue. Splintering wood, collapsing ceilings, and then, just at the edge of perception, screams, and then the sounds fade. The ghostly vision has ended. You probably would hear tremors in the earth more than the sounds. Just saying. It's probably what you'd hear more in the dungeon. And you'd probably be also very right to be scared of an occurrence like that. The mine shafts to the northwest are flooded, you take note. It will take some effort to drain them, but it's not impossible. As you look around, something strange happens. Several ghosts appear. Ukatish miners, long dead. They walk past you as if you weren't there. Yes. You hear a strange sound, a mine tunnel caving in, but faint. It's not strange at all anymore, and also it's not strange if you know what it is, but faint and full of echoes, as if you are hearing it from far, far away. Oh, I think I know what it means, and why we don't feel tremors in the earth. We are indeed hearing all these strange sounds. It's just that they're ghostly sounds. Again, you hear strange echoing sounds, more crumbling stone, the sound of rushing water, terrified screams, and then silence. Whatever you're hearing, it happened a long time ago. I found it. I figured it out before the game told me. I am so smart. I am very smart. And with that, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Queen's Wish. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.